welcome back to yet another panel discussion for CreatorCon LinkedIn edition. And we are starting with our inaugural panel, and we are so excited to have all our experts on board. And today they are going to talk about on the navigating the current as well as the future landscape of LinkedIn. And I would really request and welcome our session lead, Mr. Rrahul Sethi, founder and CEO of Metaverse 911. Welcome, sir.
Incredible, very good, wonderful. Vikas, Khalid, Kushal, thank you very much for your time, for accepting to be a panel here. It's been a long cherished dream of Shubham. He's been working on this almost for the last, I think, couple of months already, more than that. And it's my pleasure, my delight to host this session for you guys and hear from these, a true content influencers. I just won't call them a LinkedIn influencers. I think they're more content driven content-driven individuals, and absolutely delighted to sort of also listen to your thoughts. And before we get started, for the audience, let's have a quick introduction. We start with Vikas first.
Hey, thank you so much, Rrahul, for that, and glad to kick this off. Pleasure being here, part of this amazing panel that Shubham has put together. Well, a little bit about myself. I am a career HR professional now with over 20 years of experience. I've been working across industries like ITES, hospitality, education, and now most recently in the world of PR. Apart from that, I do enjoy creating on the side, and possibly that's the reason that I've been invited to this flagship event today. I blog and share under my HR in my Heart umbrella, which again is focused on trying to help career professionals build strong, fulfilling careers in the corporate world, and at the same time attend to their own personal development as well. So that's short bite about me.
Wow, incredible! I've been following you, Vikas.
Likewise, I think again admire all that content that you put out. Thanks so much.
So Khalid and me had a very, very interesting conversation at the backstage just before we logged into this panel here. And Khalid, your story is highly inspiring to, I think, people who will understand what you're serving to. I think we'll start with you with your personal introduction, and also want to know what KWCG is all about. That's very interesting. Khalid, can you just unmute yourself, please?
I'm really sorry about that. I didn't realize. Thank you so much, Rrahul. Thank you so much, Vikas, for the warm welcome and introduction. So my name is Khalid Wani, and my company is called KWCG. And the full form is Khalid Wani Consulting Group. And as earlier we were having a discussion with Rrahul, how did I end up coming up with the name? Since I'm into marketing, and marketing is all about selling, and selling has to happen as per the standards in the first 3 seconds or first 5 seconds, which we call the elevator pitch, right? So the reason why I came up with KWCG was because I wanted it to sound pretty much like KPMG. So we do pretty much what KPMG does, but for people who cannot afford the services at such high level. So it is for all the SMEs, all the individuals, and all the startups across our country who want similar kind of services, but at a more affordable price, and pretty much at par level quality. And I am also active in the investment ecosystem, since I'm also a part of an angel network in Delhi and Bombay. So I've been very much active across IITs, IIMs, and state level colleges, where I've been giving sessions, and I have been nurturing talents in terms of mentoring them to understand how to go about running a startup of their own. And so here we are today to share the same, but in regards to LinkedIn, as to how individuals can put in the amount of work which we have. I think I put in almost 10 years into LinkedIn to be able to be where I am today in terms of having that healthy network. So yes, looking forward to sharing my thoughts, and thank you so much, Rrahul, for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very inspiring, very, very inspiring. Kushal, we want to know more about you.
Sure. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm absolutely honored to be part of such an esteemed panel. Quickly about me, I am Kushal. I am a qualified chartered accountant in November 2019. Fortunately, got All India ranks in all the three levels of CA, All India rank 6, then 5 and 5 again. Started working at Aditya Birla Group in June 2020. Worked there for a couple of years. I was in corporate finance, then I was in corporate economics, and final stint was with Aditya Birla Ventures, which is a VC fund, where I used to look at fintech and edtech sectors closely. Apart from that, I've also cleared all levels of CFA and ECCA, which are courses of US and UK in the field of finance, and luckily got World Rank 3 and India Rank 2 in ACC as well. And I'm also a part-time content creator on social media with 500,000 followers across YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Primarily, I talk about education and careers in finance. And I was also recently awarded as LinkedIn Top Voice in 2022. I'm also an author of two best-selling books on Amazon. One is called Acing CA on my CA journey. Other one is called Unlocking Unicorn Secrets on Entrepreneurship with Penguin India. And recently, I've started my own edtech company called Kager. We're into finance upskilling. So we provide courses for people who want to upskill in the field of finance. So that's a quick background about me.
Wow, it's a heavy background, my friend. It's a very, very heavy background. Very good. Very, very highly privileged to be here. Um, just a quick introduction about myself for the audience and the panelists here. I have about 23 years experience in the tech. I have had two successful exits, one in services, the company I built out in Johannesburg in South Africa. I lived in South Africa for 7 years before I came back to India in 2012 and then started building SourceGain, which was a procure to pay HR tech sort of a firm and product SaaS with about 37,000 IDs across the world. After the acquisition of my product company for the last 5 years, I'm working in the immersive tech space. Metaverse just came in about a year and a half, two back, but I've been a user or the investor in the Metaverse since 2018, with my first virtual plot that I bought over in 2019, early 2019. So yeah, so journey has been very, very rewarding because we come in the industry of something I believe is called awareness first, since people don't know nothing about augmented virtual or mixed reality. So my content that I've created on LinkedIn over the last 4 or 5 years is mainly around immersive tech. I've been a member of LinkedIn since 2005 and extensively used it since how many, 16 years or something. So yeah, in terms of the growth that LinkedIn provides today to the youngsters, it's mind blowing. I see that people are using it not only to gain professional, growth in terms of where they are to how important they become in the company. I also see nowadays people writing about it. So earlier it was content that I'm writing to share. Now people are inspiring others to write content, showcasing what they have achieved with LinkedIn. So Kushal, we'll start with you. As a LinkedIn influencer, what motivated you to invest your time, effort into building your personal brand on this platform? Will be specific to LinkedIn right now. I know you're a highly influential on other platforms too, but we'll stick to the LinkedIn. Over to you, Kushal.
No, sure. Thanks. That's too kind of you, Rahul. So I think talking about LinkedIn, right? One of the reasons I started with my LinkedIn content was because I was a big fan of writing, and I used to write it in my diary, and I used to write it every morning at 6 a.m. Whenever I used to wake up, I used to write for 15-20 minutes, whatever random thoughts that used to come to my mind. And I thought that these are very relatable in the sense that audience and people would also relate to it because I am going through a similar phase. So that's how I started with LinkedIn. I started sharing all my thoughts about my corporate interviews, rejections in a lot of companies, and how did I prepare, how did I go forward in deciding what career path to choose, etc. And I also started sharing my educational notes in the sense that I had done all these exams of CA, CFA, and I had prepared like handwritten notes of all these subjects, and I scanned them and uploaded in a Google Drive and started sharing on LinkedIn subject by subject. That's how I started. I think this was 2021 when I started, and I never knew that LinkedIn is such a great platform for us to express our thoughts. You never know, you can like build your own brand on LinkedIn as well. So that was the journey of starting LinkedIn. And if you ask me honestly in terms of how it has benefited me, or maybe how was the journey over the last 2 years, I think it has become quite easier for me to reach out to people when it comes to networking. That is like one major advantage when you build your personal brand. And secondly, once people start recognizing you, I feel that like the ability of you to, let's say, hire people or get hired, if you're looking for a job, that gets amplified in the sense that if you're looking for a job and if you're active on LinkedIn, automatically you will catch eyes of the recruiters, and they'll reach out to you automatically if in case you're looking for job opportunities, etc. If, let's say, you're a founder of a company and if you're looking for hiring someone, you'll be able to hire the right talent, and like smart talent would be attracted to your organization because they know that you have built your personal brand on LinkedIn. So I think these are like the major benefits that I have been benefited on my LinkedIn thing. And yeah, I think over the last 2 years, I'm like quite consistent in posting at least 4 posts in 1 week. And that is what I started off with, 1 post a week, by the way. I used to get a lot of flack initially in my organization. They used to tell me that ये तो दिन भर LinkedIn पे ही लिखता रहता है, ये ऑफिस में काम नहीं करता होगा, etc. But gradually I ensured that ठीक है, लोग तो कहते ही रहेंगे, but you don't need to stop after a point in time. So
कुछ तो
started off
लोग
with every
कहेंगे
Saturday at 6 p.m. Then increased the frequency to 2 days per week, then 3 days per week, and finally now I am at 4 days per week.
कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे लोगों का काम है कहना छोड़ो बेकार की बातें हम अपने लिंक्डइन की पोस्ट करते हैं हम दुनिया को ये बताते हैं that I think for many audience would be also vernacular. Not all people would be very sort of. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure also at the same time. Let's also use some Hindi as well. The common problem, Vikas, in this particular, before I address the question I have for you, but this is really a sort of the way I look at people within the organization, they are not truly sort of propelling or motivating anybody to create a personal brand. I think he touched the right thing, Kushal thing. Listen, जब मैं कुछ बनाता हूँ तो मेरे मैनेजर बोलता है यार तुमको काम दिया करने को ईमेल करते नहीं और लिंक्डइन पे डाल दिया. Being a people manager, how do you first of all look at it as a problem in the industry? And then I'll ask you a question.
Sure, Rahul. Great question. I think Kushal has touched upon a very relevant and real life scenario that plays out in a lot of organizations even today, where to a large extent content creation is seen as a hobby or seen as something that is eating into the work commitment and work hours. So having said that, I know that the progressive organizations are sort of evolving. Progressive leaders are kind of accepting the new reality. If you look at the new talent which is coming in, that so-called Gen Z cohort, which Kushal is again a part of, it is very clear that their aspirations are not to get bogged down with one track and continue down that same journey for 15, 20 years. There's a very high level of experimentation that they believe and they want. And in all fairness, it's their right? I mean, it's not what the world is like today. So they would want to obviously find something which syncs with their own personal goals, their personal ambitions, and therefore, I think the larger and the more sophisticated, more progressive organizations have accepted that reality and are trying to accommodate that. They're trying to shift mindsets. The larger organizations sometimes struggle because then they get into this trap of corporate guidelines and ethics and all of those regulations to be mindful of. But slowly and surely, I think we will get there. There's no doubt in my mind.
And just before I proceed to the next question, because I would like you to sort of address this session, and your comments are all personal in nature, and that it doesn't recognize or represent an organization.
True.
Right?
Thanks for bringing that in.
Yeah, as a disclaimer, because this is more of an educational awareness series, and that we're not here to sort of speak about on behalf of a company, on behalf of group of people, but also talking in terms of what's generally we want to sort of convey to the world, and at least to these people who are very, very insightful, thoughtful, yet they still are not on this platform. Maybe with seeing you and talking about the content journey that you had, I think a lot of people today will get inspired. Businesses play a very big role, Khalid, in terms of not just personal is one part. Businesses also need to create content. I was looking at one reel. I'm not very fond of reels, but I do spend some times, looking at some motivation sort of reels on Instagram. I saw a reel from Arnold Schwarzenegger 3 or 4 days back, where he said that whatever you do today, you must advertise tomorrow. And he was talking about himself that 50 years back or 40 years back, this wasn't important. But today, even Arnold Schwarzenegger as a business has to advertise. My question to you, Khalid, is the key strategies that entrepreneurs should employ on LinkedIn, one part, and that I want you to also let the audience know in terms of what's the difference between something called a personal brand to how you create a business brand. What would be your advice to the audience?
See, since LinkedIn has totally turned into what it has mirrored all the social media, networks, I wouldn't name those platforms to avoid any kind of a lawsuit. But my point is, initially LinkedIn started off as a form of a resume, where it was also a platform for people to get a job, but people never really used it as a form of a networking. Now, coming back to the question, how can entrepreneurs, employ themselves on LinkedIn to build their personal brand? Um, See, because LinkedIn is very dedicatedly about the industry. It is no more about putting up your personal selfies, or it's about putting up, that you're traveling to some place and then you would add a motivational quote to it. It's very much dedicated to you as a person. So how do we go about approaching the personal brand? I'll get into the depth of it, but for individuals or entrepreneurs or companies who want to start building it, as you already highlighted, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who said that, you need to sow the seed today to be able to reap the benefits tomorrow. And for all of us sitting here, probably, I mean, for a few, it might not have taken as much as time as much as it has taken me. I've been active on LinkedIn for as long as LinkedIn has been there. And I definitely don't have lakhs of followers. With all due respect to others, I don't mean to be sarcastic. I only have 30,000 plus followers, and these are something that I, about a year ago realized that it has suddenly become a metric to evaluate people's value on LinkedIn. Please do not fall into that trap. Nobody, you should not be valuing yourself with the number of people who follow you. What does matter is, how your profile looks. So it's very important for you to optimize your profile. By optimization, I mean you need to have a right kind of a display picture, which is in a formal attire with a good background. Your cover photograph should have, say, a couple of lines about what you do, so that the person who's glancing, because people these days have a goldfish memory. So it's important for you to grab that attention in the first 3 seconds. Please do not use any, casual clothing photographs. Make sure you're not smiling in an awkward way. You have a good, healthy, professional photograph. You need to have the right kind of communication that you need to communicate through your profile. So coming to the about you, which should sum up your XYZ amount of years in one go. And then you should start sharing, valuable content which is regarding and related to your industry. If it's, for example, marketing related, then I would also prefer joining the groups on LinkedIn which are marketing related, where not only should you just observe the group, you should also engage yourself, through which you are in a way networking. And there you start adding people, because adding any random person wouldn't really make sense to you, because you need to build up a network of
Yeah.
people that are from your industry, so that tomorrow if there's an opportunity available to you, they will reach out to you. And you have to be relevant, as Kushal also said that he was mistaken for always posting on LinkedIn, but today those same people won't be able to point fingers at him, because now they missed the train. So it's very important that you are active on LinkedIn, because it's a part of your portfolio now. Earlier people would do a background check, now people do the background check on LinkedIn. So how healthy, how hygienic is the right term I would use, your LinkedIn profile is how you would be perceived, to be very honest. And please don't worry about writing complicated English. As long as your grammar is correct, your sentences are perfect, please don't be too conscious. And I know the current times with the whole AI coming up, a lot of people, a lot of content creators are, taking these shortcuts and cheating. Please don't do that. Even if you want to do that, please do it, but at the end of the day, make sure you just get the guidance from these AI tools, and at the end of the day, write it on your own. There's
Yeah,
no
you're so
harm
right.
in it, but make sure you're, very, please come clean. There's not no harm, but just learn it as a skill. Then please don't get dependent on it. And it's very important for
Exactly.
you to engage consistently. Do you want to ask me something, Rahul?
No, I just completely agree with you. I'm just resonating that I never used AI for creating content, though I take ideas sometimes in terms of whenever I'm putting together some post where, say, I'm having an experience that I want to put, and that experience I want to write about it, know more about it. So I use Chat
Hmm.
GPT, and then there are also other tools which I use to read about it. But
Correct,
then if you
correct.
copy nowadays the whole thing on LinkedIn, it's sort of, first of all, I don't know about algorithm that, like you
Your
said, but I
credibility is gone, because there
yeah,
are tools that can easily figure out that, it's generated. But at the end of the day, I understand that you need to leverage and you don't have enough time to create so much content every day, which is why my request to people who are tuned in today is please don't think that this is some kind of a competition with the other content creators. Your competition is you at the end of the day. And you need to
wow,
gradually increase your muscle memory, because you Rome wasn't built in a day. So please be easy on yourself, guys. I mean, I come with 20 years of experience. Rahul comes with 24. I'm sure Vikas and Kushal also have their own respective stories to tell. So we took our own sweet time, and so should you. So please don't think that every day you need to post 2 articles, you need to review a book in a week. Don't go by with all these stupid Instagram reels. I also don't agree, Rahul, with them, because they're all trying to just mislead you, trying to get their likes. And please don't quantify yourself. Your quantity is your quality of the content that you write. And
absolutely.
all the big
Well said.
leaders, like us, we will glance through your profile and we will immediately pick up on the fake thing, because you are human beings. You cannot churn out so much of content every day, which is why Kushal said that, he is stuck to now 3 to 4 contents or articles slash engagements in a week, because he has other works to attend to. So I think that sums up my answer. But I'll also come up with a few basic things, since LinkedIn has copied other social media. So you should start using hashtags on your article, so that when somebody is trying to look for that post or related to that topic, they can easily come on your profile. And if you have started getting achievements, start highlighting your achievements on your profile. Even though I don't personally prefer giving recommendations or taking recommendations, because those testimonials don't really hold any importance anymore today. But since just to jumpstart, just to help you jumpstart with your fresh profile, you can start requesting people. Please don't pester people in terms of sending happy birthdays, good morning messages, sending those cold pitches of, templates, where you don't even know how to hold a conversation. Please
Yeah.
stop doing that. That's very,
Yeah, no, definitely.
yeah, please.
Whatever you're saying, I think I want to pick up that string of the cold message anyway, in detail with you,
Yeah,
and in terms of what content should we go and post it out, what to show, what should be the content strategy. So maybe we start with Kushal. Okay, we'll pick it up from where Khalid is leaving. All right. So Kushal, here is what I'm thinking.
please.
I want you to sort of speak about is the insights in terms of in terms of the content, and how do you create engagement on your content. What are those things that you use? What are the golden rules that you like to go and convey to the world today?
Sure. That's an interesting question. Actually, I have done a lot of research as far as engagement on LinkedIn is concerned and what usually works, what doesn't. So I've realized one thing that LinkedIn algorithm has moved in a manner where posts with photographs are working quite well as compared to just text posts, because relatability from the audience's perspective increases a lot if you're attaching a relatable photo. That is number one. I have done my own study, by the way. So I posted 30 posts without a photograph. I posted 30 LinkedIn posts with a photograph. And I just checked the statistics in terms of the mean impressions in all the 30 posts with and without photograph, and realized that the posts with photos were getting 20% more reach as compared to posts without photos if you're adding some relatable photo. That is number one. The second is that external links, right? Like a lot of people sell something, or a lot of people try to like tell people that okay, you should visit this website if you want to purchase this product, etc. Now, LinkedIn doesn't want
Hmm,
their audience to, let's say, move from LinkedIn to XYZ website. And that's why if you're writing that
correct.
external link in the post itself, it will drop your reach by 20 to 25 percentage as per like the study which I have read by Houston Golden, who is like one of the LinkedIn authors of LinkedIn Bible as well. And in that study, in fact, I did that study for my also, like my own post. I wrote 15 posts where the link was in the post and 15 posts where the link was in the comment section. And the post where the link was in the post itself, that got 15 to 20% lesser impressions as compared to post like link being in the comment section. That is second. The third thing is about the frequency part. Like, although there is no rule that what time of post or at what time you should post on LinkedIn as such, I did a
Timing, yeah.
simple poll with my audience. I told them that, okay, what time are you most active on the platform? And I did a poll where I just mentioned like 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., and I got the most number of votes for 6 p.m. And therefore I decided that every alternate day or 4 days a week I'll post at 6 p.m. sharp. There are a lot of research and there are a lot of other companies also which state that, okay, Monday to Wednesday you should post in the morning, Thursday to Friday, Saturday you should post in the evening, etc. But I feel whenever your audience is more active, that is the time you should post rather than just thinking about and
Wow,
going with any study that is done. That's the
that's
third insight.
perfect.
And
Okay.
the fourth and the last one, which I'd like to mention, is that the photos one, which I mentioned, right? So there's this concept of impressions on LinkedIn. Every post has certain number of impressions. Everyone knows that. Now, the way this impression is calculated is that if the post is covering more than 50% of your mobile screen or laptop screen for more than 3 seconds, then LinkedIn counts that as one impression. So basically, the first two lines, which is there, it should be so hooked, or maybe it should be so appealing that people should click on that, see more, and once they click on the see more, and if they are there for 3 or more seconds, then that gets counted as one impression. So usually what I try to do is that the first two lines should be so appealing, or the first two lines should be so out of the box, that it will just encourage the audience to click on the see more to see कि okay इसने लिखा क्या है पूरा, मतलब ये दो लाइन में इतना ये लिख दिया तो बाकी का भी मेरे को पढ़ने में इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है. So basically the audience, if they're spending more than three sorry, if they're spending more than 3 seconds, then that gets counted as one impression. So that's why I just try to ensure that I'm using the first two lines as something which is catchy, or something which will hook the audience, hook the readers, and then automatically like the post would be relatable to that way. So I think these are 4 or 5 insights which I have realized, and this is something which
That's
I'm using.
no, that's incredible. I think whoever is listening to these, in fact, I learned this from you, Kushal, today of how impressions are being counted. I thought that every time when I get 3,000 or 50 or 5,000 or sometimes more, the impressions I get, I thought that those are my impressions, that people have sort of maybe looked at it, maybe they stopped at that particular scene. But I agree with you that it does play a very big role in terms of how you create some sort of a hook. Um, there is a there is this thing I want to discuss more with Vikas. I want to ask you one. I'm very intrigued about content. When you said HR in my heart, so that's one. Okay, so I want to know, people, being a people's head, in such a large organization, um, what goes into creating content that resonates with your audience, since you are people are looking at you more from a job perspective. You're a person that gets people jobs. Okay, so when you think of it, okay, you're creating content which is thought leadership, but the audience is looking at you as more of a job person. How do you make the balance, and what's been sort of your journey so far in that context?
Sure. A great question, Rahul. In fact, that's often a dilemma I struggle with, because you're right to some extent. While I talk about HR and how uh, people on the platform can actually enhance themselves and grow themselves, there is always a lot of connection requests, or people reach out to me for jobs directly. And as much as I may want to, the reality is I cannot give direct employment to each and every one of them, right? So I've made my peace with the fact that at the end of the day, if I'm able to help people grow themselves, develop themselves, and enable them to maybe land an opportunity of their own liking or dream somewhere else, I have somewhere done my job as a HR creator, influencer, whatever you call me. Uh, Also, to kind of share an insight, because the very reason you mentioned HR in my heart, the time when I started getting active on the platform in terms of actually creating it about 3 years ago, I had noticed that there was a very strong trend of creating hashtags around Vikas speaks, or Vikas thought leader, or Vikas writes, and very individual centric, to so to speak. And my thought was really to try and make it more inclusive, to the extent that I'm perfectly okay if someone else wants to use this hashtag, as long as it carries the same thought process, message of making sure uh, our community members can kind of grow together, and not make the same kind of mistakes in the corporate world that some of us with the 20-year plus have made. And I'm sure each one of us has had their share of bloopers on that account. So the whole idea was to try and create conversations around development, around growth, and enable people to latch on to whatever works for them, and grow from there. And eventually, when some of this resonated to answer what, or take forward what Kushal and Khalid have also shared. Fact is that the more genuine you are, the more you talk about the benefit of the others, the more likely you are to be able to create an impact and grow as an influencer. I see a lot of people also get into the trap of, I've done this and I've achieved that, and I've been invited to this event and so on and so forth. But ultimately, that's not going to pull in, let's say, credibility. It's not going to pull in any recognitions to the fact as well, because again, not naming the other platforms, I don't think LinkedIn is that. Let's be honest, it's more about, as
Because
the platform itself
do you
creates opportunities. Sorry, Khan.
do you mind if I ask you something? Since a lot of people have started putting up statuses, and they say that please amplify this, who are asking for a job by putting it on a status, यार. मतलब आप एहसान कर रहे हो कि आप जॉब ढूंढ रहे हो, और मतलब लोग आपके उसमें कमेंट करके डाले. सो कैन यू प्लीज शेड सम genuine hardcore realistic approach to these people who think by putting up a status ki I'm looking for a job, please amplify by commenting on this. If you're not showing seriousness towards coming to people like us to ask for a job, but you expect us to come to you, please, Vikas, I really want you to, humbly request you to please give them a reality check, yaar.
See, I'll
If
tell
it
you something,
wasn't
Khalid.
easy
I
for us, how
mean,
can it be easy for them?
yes, but I think also to a fact that I know in the Indian ecosystem, the culture that we come from, it's not easy to put a status out there saying that I'm unemployed or I'm struggling and I need help. So I would, in fact, give a benefit of doubt to such an individual who's actually taking the lead, coming forward and saying, okay, it's almost the last resort for a lot of, people in the Indian culture, is my understanding. So I think
Understood.
LinkedIn kind
From
of
humility
facilitated
point
that,
of view, it's a good thing,
open to
right,
work.
sir?
Yeah. So the open to work feature, for example, is helpful in a sense because now it enables people to stand out and say, okay, I need employment. But yes, of course, to amplify,
Understood,
I
sir.
mean, again, I would think it's a little desperate move. But again, giving benefit of doubt to the individual, I think maybe they're in that situation where they need that extra push. So if we can help, why not?
So, Vikas, sir, that's very kind of you. It's like this. A lot of, with all due respect, unemployed people like to call themselves to be the entrepreneur or the CEO of an unregistered company that they go and print out the cards for. So, I believe in tough love at the end of the day. I'm very aggressive when it comes to this. I will not cherry pick my words. And I know in your industry as an HR, you have to have a lot of retention with the employees. So you have to choose your words very wisely. But I feel, to such people who are listening right now, please feel free. Of course, put an open to network or open to hiring or open to finding a job. But at the same time, don't just leave it at, sending a cold DM to people where you're telling them, listen, please hire me. And that's about it. Or or at least have some basic courtesy. Try to build up a conversation with people. If we see that you're putting your empathy into it, we will be more than happy to, if not hire you, at least direct you towards being hired by someone. So I feel, Vikas, please just put in a word to those people that they should also start being more realistic rather than very soft, because the current Gen Z, the whole woke culture is now infecting LinkedIn also. I'm really sorry to say that. People are getting hurt. People are now overreacting to reality based messages. We are very data driven, as Kushal pinpointed, right? This has nothing to do with emotions. LinkedIn is more about dhanda and business, right? And there we're very aggressive. So if somebody feels bad, please don't be on the platform. So please, Vikas, take the lead. I'm sorry I barged in.
No, no, not at
No,
all,
no,
Khalid. In fact,
it's a
I wouldn't disagree with you in terms of that yes, one has to have a strategic approach to reaching out for help or sending in a message, because obviously people like us probably get hundreds of such requests every day, and if you want to stand out from the crowd, you've got to craft a message, craft a story which actually gets you those eyeballs. I mean, plain DMs are just not going to work anymore. I'll pass it back to Rahul. I think he also has a few thoughts and
Yeah.
more questions lined up for us.
no, no. There is a lot of tools nowadays which are automation tools. I want to also address, that part also.
They're
Most
spamming
recently, I had,
people.
yeah, most recently I had Khalid bhai. I had a very good experience. sitting with one of our clients, and in the gentleman sitting right next to me is a sales manager, pretty mid level, if not senior, and he's got these 2 3 tools, and he's connected them with some LinkedIn accounts. Now he's just throwing up using drip campaigns, just throwing up messages all over the world. So I asked him a question. I said, "Do you know what you're writing to whom? Have you done any analysis? I mean, forget hyper personalization. At least personalize it." So Vikas, what he said is exactly what's happening. Businesses are utilizing LinkedIn thinking that they will write a mail to somebody and say, "Give me business." Job seekers are writing to people such as, Vikas and other HR and talent acquisition teams saying, "Hey, I'm available, give me a job." What's not happening is that the whole idea of social media, and you three are the pioneers in that, is about creating inbound attention. Don't think of writing to somebody to just get attention. Think of it with respect to inbound attention. Let people see you and say and give you attention. I think which is very, very extremely applicable in all three of you. So the advice to these people, whether young, junior, senior, or desperate, is that there is no shortcut to success. Go watch a movie. Okay, there's no shortcut to success at all. You got to work hard.
So
You got to
Rahul,
go
so
create a plan.
now Rahul, so now LinkedIn has also introduced other inbox, as Kushal tells, discussed that their algorithm now has artificial intelligence. It's by default throwing those messages into that other inbox. So it is also cutting down on that, spam for us automatically. And, I don't want LinkedIn to now turn into those extreme levels of dirty email marketing. Unfortunately, that is what it is going to come down to. But I hope today's discussion, will at least start that wave. I mean, since all four of us are actually trying to sanitize it by keeping it very hygienically clean in terms of keeping it, clean. So I feel, we are trying to make sure, that unhygienic side of the content and blasting emails and using these tools. Um, is not going to ruin LinkedIn for us because LinkedIn is the last resort for all of us. Since
Kushal,
I
I want you
personally
to
hate
come in.
Instagram, Facebook.
Kushal, I want you to come in here and discuss with the audience about the role of networking and meaningful connections on LinkedIn. Okay, I
Yeah.
mean because that's one area which is also very important. So
Yeah.
over to you, Kushal. Yeah,
Absolutely. That's a brilliant question, Rahul, honestly. I think
thank
that LinkedIn has really, really helped me in order to build a very, very good network. And it has helped me immensely as far as reaching out to people is concerned. So I'm just unhappy or maybe disappointed with the fact that you can reach out to 100 people maximum in 1 week. And almost every week, my limit of reaching out to 100 people gets exhausted because I try to reach out to like n number of people for n number of different reasons. One key rule of networking which I have followed ultimately in the last couple of years or so is that be as shameless as possible when you reach out to someone, but don't be desperate when you follow up multiple times. That's the rule which I usually follow. So let's say I am reaching out to someone and I want to talk about their MBA B school experience. They are like people from Stanford, Harvard, and Wharton, and trying to understand what exactly is different in Harvard versus let's say an IIM Ahmedabad. So I'll reach out to 20-25 folks from Harvard, and I'll try to ensure that at least out of those 25, I'll get a response from 5 or 4, and I'll end up getting on a call with one or two
Okay.
of them, which will solve my justice. So that is something which I have been doing as far as networking is concerned. When you send connection request to anyone on LinkedIn, there is an add a note section, and then there is a send button which you send while sending a connection request. Whenever, irrespective of whatever whoever the person is, I will always mention in the add a note section like 2 lines about me and 1 line in terms of why I want to connect with them. So, for example, let's say I wanted to reach out to people doing their MBA from Harvard. So, hi XYZ, I am Kushal, founder of Kiger and EdTech platform and finance upskilling. I'm a part-time content creator with 500K followers. I'm looking to understand your experience at Harvard. Please let me know if we can connect. So, it's a character limit also is there of 300 characters, and you have to ensure you're like writing in that character limit. So, I try to have a fixed format. So the chances of your acceptance being chances of your message being accepted is more, because they also get to see your profile. They also see, okay, this guy has made some effort, so at least let's try to see his profile, and if the profile is worthy, let's try to have a call or conversation with that person. So that has worked out really well for me. You won't believe that I have literally got my first B2B clients via this method, when I had reached out to, let's say, HR and L&D heads of multinational companies for corporate trainings, and that was the way I networked on LinkedIn. And apart from that, I also have this one rule when it comes to networking, is that when you follow up, right, you have to ensure that you're following up 2 or 3 times after a week. Like every week I follow up, and then after a point in time I don't follow up. I mean, I stop doing that, because I know that the other person either is not getting time to reply or is not interested to have a conversation with me. So maximum 2 or 3 follow-ups, and after that you just stop, and you don't be as desperate that every day you are just telling, okay, please get on a call, please get on a call. You also need to understand that other people are equally occupied in their lives. So that is something which I have followed, and that is how LinkedIn has immensely helped me. I don't crib or I don't complain that 25 में से 20 people ने मना कर दिया. I am happy that 2 लोगों ने call पे आके बात किया. I am happy with those 2 people and not sad कि 23 लोगों ने मुझे like कुछ भाव नहीं दिया. So that is
That's
something
very
which I work with.
That is very nice. Incredible. So you're such a natural speaker. When I listen to you,
Yeah,
isn't it because Khalid? Very natural speaker.
I
He's a
totally agree. I'm so inspired
whatever you
by,
say. Yeah.
hearing him at such a young age. He's doing so well. I'm so happy for you, Kushal. I genuinely get, inspired and motivated by young talent like you. And I really wish, there are more people coming up, and I'm sure they are there. We probably haven't met them yet, but yes, so nice to hear you. Yeah, so nice to hear you. Very happy with your knowledge.
Means
And
a lot.
Totally
a
echo
lot of
that.
people on yeah, a lot of people on LinkedIn right now live want to also ask them one. They are being addressed. The questions are being addressed by the other team, but I'm sure. Thank you very much for people who are asking questions, both on the DM and on the other side of the chat. Thank you so much for all the attention that you're giving to us, and I think that's what your time, your attention, and to attention to what we're talking is more important for us. So thanks a lot to the audience on the other side. Of course, I have this one point that I would like to specifically ask Vikas. I know, Kushal, you are a top voice. Vikas, you're a top voice. What does it take for one to become a top voice? One, I think this a lot of people would be very, very keen to understand, to know what it takes. Number one, what is the process, and how has been your experience? Um, Over to you, Vikas.
Sure, Rahul. I wish I knew the answer to that one. I call it the mystery box because earlier this year, when I got my top voice recognition, yeah, I was pretty taken aback. Happened out of the blue, came as a shocker, and I was surprised because I just had about 10-15,000 followers at that point, and I was like surprised. I said my assumption was that top voices would have lakhs and lakhs of followers, and therefore I just did a little dipstick check on the platform in terms of the other top voices, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that they had follower counts of ranging from anywhere between 4-5 thousand to 6-7-8 lakhs. So one thing very clear in my mind was that it's not a followership game, right? And that kind of reinforced that message to me, which I'm glad about, because if I share one personal angle about my own creator journey, I've had a very, I would say, slow-paced follower growth, community growth in a sense over the last 3-4 years. It's not been earth-shattering. I've seen, you know, young creators in maybe 6 to 7 months manage to get the same kind of network strength and so on. So at times, I'll be very honest, at a personal level it does hurt. After all, we're human. But when I come back and really think about it, I think it's more important about creating impact, and you can do that with 3,000 people. You could create that with 3 lakh people, and I think that's what the great folks or the algorithms within LinkedIn are trying to do, to kind of find out what is it that can be tagged as a top voice. Is there some value addition happening to the community, to the platform? And just to take another few seconds, I think the approach I followed, and maybe that's what's led to this, I would say, is something that I firmly believe in. I followed what I call the eats model when it comes to sharing content. It's something that I've kind of picked up over time, and I've created this acronym on my own. So E stands for educating, A stands for asking, okay, T stands for telling, and S stands for supporting. Now, if you're able to do a combination of all this in your sharing, and be genuine about it. Again, reiterating the fact that it's not about me and having achieved XYZ or having got the top voice tag at all. It's more about giving to the community. And now, thankfully, after 20 plus years of having really gone and struggled out in the field, climbed up the ranks, one has a lot of internal content, if you may, to be able to share material along the eats model, like I call it. So that's what's worked. I think if that can be something that can help the community who's watching, listening in today, I think it'll be great.
Is that the title of the next book?
I should trademark it then right away.
I think
Yeah,
it's
you
a
should
great
definitely.
trademark. It is a great trademark, I must say. Okay, great trademark and
Thank you.
incredible. And just a closing remarks with what Vikas said in terms of the eats model. Would maybe first have 1 minute from you, Khalid, because we are now anyways out of the time. 1 minute for you. What's your that one
Yeah.
model that you would advise to people in a minute?
So I think pretty much, I will not reproduce anything, but all four of us have covered all the important topics. But to keep it very simple, be very realistic and honest. Don't try and take shortcuts with these AI tools, please. And don't think that the audience is a fool who you think, by putting pretty photos of yourself and you can copy paste the content or recycling the content. Don't do that. Please don't do that. LinkedIn is evolving every day. Their algorithm is changing for the same reason, so that it does not turn into the Instagram of the world. So please, it's not too late. Start your journey today. And please don't be desperate. Hang in there, put in good quality content. Please feel free to approach us. And my humble request is, please also take up the LinkedIn Premium. At least start with a smaller package, because it's definitely going to help you out. Initially you might not know what to do. Start, I won't say copying someone like us. Start getting a bit of an inspiration. Start understanding how we have made our profiles. Start looking like that. So it's definitely going to help the freshers out there. So yes, that these are my 2 cents. And yeah, please keep it clean, please keep it healthy, and please don't cheat. Because if you're going to
Wow.
cheat on LinkedIn, you're cheating yourself for life, man. ये तो फिर भी ऑनलाइन
Wow.
प्लेटफॉर्म है, जिंदगी के रास्ते में क्या करोगे फिर?
Wonderful. Kushal, your 2 cents in 1 minute.
Sure. So I completely agree with Khalid. Be as authentic as possible, be as genuine as possible. Don't have this burden or don't have this pressure of posting, let's say, 4 times a week, 2 times a week. If let's say you're facing some creative block and you're not getting any thoughts as such, it's okay to take a break. It's not necessary that you have to burden yourself. कि यार ये दो लिखना ही है, मतलब ये हफ्ते में 3 लिखना ही है, etc. Just be yourself, be you, be organic, and automatically, like if people start relating to your content, if you start writing which is like liked by a lot of people, automatically LinkedIn algorithm is going to boost your post, and automatically like more people will end up following you. So just be yourself, be authentic. That is my only piece of advice if you want to grow as a LinkedIn content creator. And ultimately, like, this is definitely going to help you build your personal brand. And it's a very easy platform in the sense that you just have to write something and post a photo if needed. So the thing is that unlike an Instagram or a YouTube where it's a video content, you have to like make an effort in order to speak in front of a camera, which is more difficult than writing up text. So it's an easy platform to grow. So just be authentic and be yourself.
Fantastic, fantastic, gentlemen. I am today having this lovely creative breakfast on StreamYard on LinkedIn. I'm very delighted. Thank you very much for all your time and for the audience who has been extremely patient listening to us, giving attention to all the things that we spoke. I want to personally thank Shubham for organizing this at Organized Chaos. And yeah, over to you, Shubham.
Yeah. So, firstly, thank you so much, Rahul sir, for moderating this session and so well, and sharing your insights. And I really like to thank Khalid sir for supporting me since the start, and Vikas sir for just. I'm just so honored to have you on my platform. And Kushal, thank you so much, and thank you so much, audience, for tuning in and asking